And then you're thinking, all right, wait a minute. Exodus 33:20, God tells Moses, no man can see my face and live. And then in John 4, verse 24, Jesus is talking to the Samaritan woman at the well, and she says, wait a minute, you Jews say we have to worship in Jerusalem, but us Samaritans, we worship on this mountain, so which is it? And Jesus says, neither. Because one day the true worshipers will come, and they will worship in spirit and truth. Why? Because God is what? Spirit. So if God is spirit, how can Jesus be the image of the invisible God? Well, if you read Philippians 2, it makes it perfectly, abundantly clear. Jesus is God incarnate. In other words, he is God in flesh. He is God's Son who came down in human flesh as a man and then died for our sins and rose from the dead. He is God incarnate. And so, Jesus, essentially, how is he the image of the invisible God? He made the invisible visible. Look at verse 15 also. Not only is he the image of the invisible God, but he is also the firstborn over all creation. Now, a lot of people will take this verse out of context, which listen, when you read a verse, you've got to read it in its context. Because some people will read this verse and go, aha! See, Jesus is not eternal. He was created. Jehovah's Witnesses, they believe he was created. Mormons believe he was created. Muslims believe he was created. But we of course believe that Jesus is eternal because he's God. So when someone reads this verse, they go, aha! See, it says he was the firstborn over all creation. Must mean he was created, right? Well, what it's saying is, if you guys remember the story of Jacob and Esau, who was born first? Esau. And Esau was the firstborn son. And so the firstborn son received all the special status, all the rights, all the accoutrements, everything that went with being the firstborn. But of course, he sold his firstborn rights to Jacob, and Jacob inherited that special status. So when it says that Jesus is the firstborn over all creation, it's saying that he has preeminence, like Josh said. He is preeminent. He has all authority over all authority because he is the pinnacle of everything. He is the firstborn over all creation. In fact, this verse really only makes sense if you read verses 16 and 17. So let's read verse 16. It makes sense in light of verses 16 and 17. It says that all things were created by him, through him, and for him. It says, for by him all things were created, both in the heavens and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. You know, we think about Jesus, we think about the guy who walked this earth, we think about the guy who had a 3-year ministry, who discipled the 12 disciples, and then who died on the cross and rose from the dead and ascended into heaven. But we don't think about the fact that Jesus created this universe. Jesus is the creator, so if he's the creator, all things are created by him, he must be fully God. And it says things in heaven, things on earth, visible and invisible. That means physical things, every single thing you see, everything you see in here, every single atom in this universe was created by Christ. You guys realize that? There are trillions and trillions of atoms. Those of you who took science or physics, an atom is just the most basic element, the most basic molecule of matter, and it's composed of electrons, neutrons, and protons. Jesus created every single one of those. You know, back in February, it snowed big time here, right? It was like, what, a foot of snow in one day. I loved it. I felt like I was in Colorado again. In fact, I opened up the window, I was like, okay, sky, are we in Colorado? What's just happening? Did we get transported? And there's a foot of snow. Now, they say that every single snowflake that falls from the sky is unique and specific in details, in and unto itself. So that means that Christ has perfectly designed every snowflake that falls on this earth. He has created all physical things, but not only that, he's created all spiritual things. Look again at verse 16. It says visible and invisible, meaning physical and spiritual. It says whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. In the Greek, these 4 words can mean either physical or spiritual things, which means that he established every single ruler and authority, every king, every prince, every governor, every senator, every president, every single physical ruler, but at the same time, he created every single angel and demon. So if he created every single authority, that means he has authority over every authority. So it says, for by him all things were created, and through him all things were created. But check this out. All things have been created through him and what? For him. That means everything exists for his glory. You know, people always ask, one of the fundamental questions of philosophy is, what is the meaning of life? What is the purpose? Why are we even here? Why do we exist? Why am I here? You know, everyone has to ask that question in their life. And I've had several people ask me that. What is the meaning of life? Folks, it's pretty simple. It is to glorify Christ alone. It is to glorify Christ in your life. How many of you have ever been mountain climbing? Meaning you have hiked up a mountain? Anyone? All right. Oh, okay. Good deal of you. In Colorado, where I'm from, we have what are called 14ers. And there's about 50 of them. And 14ers are, it's a mountain that's 14,000 feet in elevation or higher. And so one morning, it was the summer after I graduated college, I had a few friends come up to me and they said, dude, we're hiking a mountain, we're hiking a 14er tomorrow, are you in? First of all, none of my friends are surfer dudes, so I don't know why they had that accent. But anyway, aside from that, so they come up to me and they said, are you in? You want to hike this 14er? And I'm like, sure. What's a 14er? And they explained, well, it's a mountain that's 14,000 feet or higher. So I'm thinking, please. High school, I was in all-state track. I'm in pretty decent shape now. I mean, look at these guns. I mean, no problem. Yeah, I'm in. They're like, okay, cool. We're going to wake up at 3 in the morning tomorrow, and then we're going to, whoa. What? Wait, back up. What did you just say? We're going to wake up at 3 in the morning. There's a 3 in the morning now? When did this happen? I don't know why God created early mornings, but that's another story. So I said, all right, 3 in the morning, we'll do it. Because you got to get up early in the morning if you're going to hike a 14er, because in the afternoon, you'll get stranded by thunderstorms, huge thunderstorms like clockwork every afternoon. So we got up at 3 in the morning, and we started going. And we started the base, and it's like a 9,000 elevation change, feet, 9,000 feet elevation change. And so we started the base, and we start trekking up there. And they're kind of going at this slow, steady pace, and I'm like, what is this? This is easy. And so I just started taking off running. And they're like, no, you don't want to do that, Jared, come back. I'm like, whatever, this is easy, later losers, and I just start taking off. And there's a thing called the tree line. Now, what is not above the tree line? Trees. You know why? Because trees are smart. Trees are like, there's no oxygen up here, get down. You know, there's a reason there's no trees up there. But yet, we as humans just want to climb up for some reason. So I get above the tree line, and I'm no longer running, definitely no longer running. I'm no longer walking. I'm doing this thing. You know, and it's not that I'm struggling breathing. There's a difference between struggling breathing and a high, squeaky squeal noise. Let me explain. When you're struggling to breathe because you're out of shape, you're like, I was like, no air. I mean, I could not breathe. And so here I am, going like this, doing the squeaky, squealy noise. And my friends just walk by, like, yeah, track star, wow, ooh. I walk on by. And so I look up, and I'm going along, and I see the peak. And I mean, this is the goal of the mountain climb. I see the peak, and yes, I'm so close, I'm just maybe 300 yards off. And so I keep going, I get up to the top, and I'm like, yes! No! What? Who put another mountain here? It just keeps going. It was like another 3,000 feet you had to climb up. And so I keep going, and finally I get to the top of this mountain. I start doing the Rocky Balboa. I'm like, woo! Oh, you gotta be kidding me! It keeps going? There's what are called false peaks. You get up to a point you think is the peak, but no, it just keeps going and going. It's energetic money. So here I am on the second false peak. And I start going more, and I start catching up with my friends. And now I see a peak, the third peak. And I think this one's the one. This is the authentic peak. This is the real one. I just have this feeling in my gut. So I get my second wind, and I just take off running. Because I want to get there up to the top where I can spend time with God alone, and it just be beautiful, and I wanted to meet them. Anyway, so I take off, and I finally get to the peak. And I look down, and all around, I see nothing but mountains. Nothing but mountains. I mean, I'm up where the clouds are, and I'm hiking up Mount Elbert, by the way, which is the highest mountain in Colorado, which I think they were messing with me when that was the first mountain I ever climbed. They picked the highest one. Anyway, so I'm looking out, and all I see is mountains, and they're all below me. Let me tell you what I did not think. And this is the most spectacular view I've ever had. This is one of the most beautiful things my eyes have ever seen, apart from my wife. Brownie points. Let me tell you the things I did not think. I didn't think, oh, God, thank you for creating this for me, and thank you for creating this for our enjoyment. I didn't think, oh, man, God, this is great. This is really, your creation is really beautiful. I didn't think, man, these mountains are pretty. I didn't think anything like that. You know what I thought? Or did? I dropped to my knees and I said, woe am I. For I'm a man of unclean lips. I live among people of unclean lips. And I worshiped him like I've never worshiped him before. And I just gave him all the glory. And I said, these mountains cry out for your glory. These mountains are screaming out, to Jesus be all the power, all the honor, all the glory, all the dominion, all the praise, all the adoration forever and ever and ever and ever. Amen. And I glorify him because that's what the creation is for. God created all things. Jesus created all things to glorify